What is up, guys? It's Zura here, and today I have for you a deck profile that I never thought in my life I would be doing, but here we are because the LOL clan event was actually generous to me. We will be doing Musketeers today, so I had no intentions of ever doing a deck profile for this deck, as I personally didn't care about getting the deck or not, but turns out when the clan event gives you all 8 triple rares for free with 0 gems spent, you get a deck for free. So without further ado, let's get to the list. I will say I'm not exactly an expert at this or anything at this deck. I just kind of play around a bit, but I do think this list works well enough. Definitely play around with ratios and stuff, play with different cards that you might want to play over this. Over the cards I play in my list, I'm not exactly an expert at Neo Nectars, but this list has worked well enough for me, so this is the list that I've been playing around with. Works well enough. I'll explain the card choices and why I play the certain cards, but yeah, without further ado, let's start. So first off, the starter is the... I don't know their names. It's a grade 3 searcher, but and the important thing is that it is a Musketeer name. So it's the usual Forerunner and then CB1. Put it into Soul, which is actually relevant. Going to Soul is extra fuel for Elvira to sack cards off, so you can enable her crit limit break. But this card skill is CB1, put into Soul, checked out 5, add grade 3 to hand. Shuffle, if you miss, obviously just shuffle, but yeah. It's the generic the goat starters like to call it, because the Shadow Paladin one, but yeah, it's just a generic grade 3 searcher, nothing too special here. It's good. The important thing is that it's a Musketeer name. I've tried playing around with the other starters, but this one honestly just feels the best, because if you don't want to use it to put into Soul, at worst you can use it as sack fodder, which is better than better than literally all the other starters, because the other starters basically, most of them do nothing, and you can't sack them off. So yeah, that's how you play this. New PG. This one is Musketeer name, which is actually relevant. But yeah, this is the new PG that procs only when you're about to get hit for lethal, and it is a Musketeer name. That's all that matters. PGs are PGs. You play 4 in every deck. Next off, we play 4 of, again, I don't know her name, but her skill is Vanguard rear, basically only rear, because I don't know when you're going to have a counter blast when you ride grade 1. But regardless, on play, CB1, sack off a Musketeer to check top 4 and call a Musketeer. So this is the whole gimmick of the deck, if you don't know. They like sack each other off to call cards off the top. You're technically cycling through your decks, because you're more likely not going to call the non-triggers that you find. Usually intercepts, but sometimes you need boosters, so I might call those. And the whole gimmick of this deck is cycling through the deck to try to compress your deck to hit triggers and stuff, and to enable Elvira's limit break of getting crit. But you know, this card's okay. You play because it enables you the ability to search your deck to actually call stuff off top of your deck. It costs counter blast, is kind of annoying. I don't use her like too often, but having the option to call with this card is nice, and I do appreciate it. That's why I played her 4 of. Next, the other 4 of is the self ping. So yeah, it's self ping. It's also on names, also Musketeer. Yeah, the breakride for Neo Nectar sucks so bad, and it's not Musketeer name, so you don't play it for that reason. So that's why you play self ping. So you can use this to turbo into Elvira's limit break, which is pretty cool. And yeah, you play her at 4 because you don't really have space in grade 2 to play any more of the grade 2. Play too many grade 2 pings, so you max out as many pings you can grade 1. It's because you don't really have too many other good grade 1 choices to play. So yeah, play 4 of her. And then lastly, we play the Musketeer Tanky Attacker. This can be anything, just as long as it's on name, I think it's fine. I play this because you can sometimes swing with this, but that's about it. Card's kind of whatever, and it's your filler 1-0. You could play like the 9k booster if you want, but I don't think that card does anything. It doesn't make meaningful lanes anywhere, so yeah. Next off, the newest inclusion of the deck, also I don't know, I don't remember her name. Sylvia, I think is her name? Yeah, I think her name is Sylvia, but regardless, she's Vanguard rear on play. You reveal the top part of your deck. If it is a Musketeer, you call it. If it's not, you shuffle it back in the deck. So it's a triple rare Transriser. It's like a mix between a Transriser and a car from Shadows. But yeah, this card is, you play it because this card gives you a free call, so you don't have to waste a soul from Elvira or Counterblast from the other cards that call the off Counterblast to enable Elvira's limit break. Yeah, and it's also just free plus at the end of the day. Yeah, it's good. This card's good. I don't know, like, I don't think it's triple rare levels of good, but it's a clan event. I don't have enough cards to make triple rare, so I guess this card is probably the second best card in from this set from Musketeer. So yeah, it's good enough, and if it's a card that you will play at 4 if you have 4 of it. You want to play as many of this card as you have. I wouldn't go out of my way to get a playset of this. The deck does, but this card is definitely very useful. Some kid body kind of sucks though. Oh yeah, and the important thing is that this card can actually, if you don't want to call PGs off of this card's skill, you can swap and play the old PGs instead. Since you're not a breakride deck, you have self pings in the deck, you don't have to play the new PGs. But to me, I'd rather just get the call off properly and actually enable the call and actually get the call off and just call the PG than with the PG because I'm playing the old PGs and then not enable Elvira's limit break. So yeah. That's why I personally opt to play the new PGs over the old PGs. So yeah, there's that. And then next we have the counter charger. Yeah, also it's in the Musketeer name. On hit counter charge, nothing special. Here you play 4 of it because Elvira needs a crit every time to enable her limit break. So counter charging is definitely very, very nice. Although most of the time it's usually go rear to rear, Vanguard to Vanguard. So this card doesn't get too much use, but it's a card you still want to play at 4 so that if you ever do it, the chance to hit with a counter charge, you can hit with it and counter charge. So yeah, you play 4 of it. At least I play 4 of it. You can probably play with 3 and still be fine, but yeah. Next, I'm playing the Musketeer 12 key attacker. It's a 12 key attacker. It swings in solo. It's on name. It's pretty good. It's good enough. You can hit things solo. That's basically all it's there for. Nothing much to say about him. And then the last grade 2 slots I play is 2 self pings. So this is just because I don't think 4 pings is enough. If you personally find 4 pings is enough, you can cut her for like more 12 key attackers. The grade 2 version of the grade 1 that CB wants to sack for a call. But I personally found that I wanted more self pings, so that's why I choose to play 2 of these. Yeah, just a self ping, nothing much to say about it. And then lastly, the grade 3s. First we have the new card, the new boss of the deck, the Elvira. So her skill is Limit Break 4. Every time a Musketeer is called from your deck, you can CB 1 to give her 1 crit. So what I end up doing with this deck a lot of times is you pretend you're playing Reiji. I've said this before. I've said this on stream a bunch of times, but this card's basically just at least how I like to play. It's hard to me just Reiji with extra steps. Because you like call a bunch of stuff, you CB2, you get the crit, you're at 3 crit now, you just hold a breakride deck at 3 the entire game. Yeah, this card I think this card's pretty good. You can deny limit breaks. If you don't draw PG, you just kind of lose this deck sometimes because low crit. And they have selfing, so you can't really exactly deny them of their limit break. So they can just ping themselves to 4 and then get the crit anyways. The only bad thing about this skill is that it doesn't get power, so since you don't have any boosters that can actually scale her properly to 21, you either have to go for the 3 crit to ensure you can kill from 3 with the 3 crit, or you have to pray to God that they don't get a defensive trigger, or that you see a trigger they do get one. So that's a little awkward. And then her second skill is Soul Blast 1, sack a Musketeer to check top 5 and call a Musketeer from the top. So she can enable her own limit break once you're at 4 damage. She can fulfill her own condition. You sack, you check top 5, call a card. So yeah, pretty nice. That is why the GOAT is also really good, because the starter rather. The starter is good because it goes into Soul. So that's one extra use of this skill. So yeah, really nice. First card's pretty good. Actually lets Neo do things now, because before the deck kind of just cycled, called intercepts, and then didn't do anything after that. So yeah, this card gives the deck a win con now. I think this card's pretty good. And you definitely play her at 4 if you want to play this deck. And then next, we'll go over the other Musketeer first, the older card. We'll go over Cecilia. So she actually got buffed from her initial release. So I'll just go over her skill here. The Limit Break 4, CB1, shuffle 3 grade 2 or lower Musketeers. So before it was shuffle 5, now it's only shuffle 3. So since you can't shuffle triggers in, you're forced to shuffle non-triggers in. So you're decompressing your deck. But before it was shuffle 5, so a super decompressor deck. 3 means you don't put in as many non-triggers in your deck, so this is definitely a buff. Smaller number is not a nerf. This is definitely a buff. To create 2 Cecilias out of thin air. You just create them, you call 2 of them, and then her other skill is free once per turn, sack off a Musketeer, check top 5, call a Musketeer off the top from that top 5. So yeah, So this card's like a backup ride, I guess. It's not too amazing because all it really does is it generates you cards, but the cards that it generates you aren't intercepts, so you have to actually stack them off and have ways to stack them off to convert them into intercepts or boosters or whatever you're looking for at the time. And this card is you play her mainly because she's a musketeer name and she's 11k, so she can swing solo. Card's kind of whatever. You play her because you don't think better to play basically. But she's still okay. If the games ever get dragged on long enough, she does have the cool niche of preventing deck out, which has definitely come up for me because you are cycling through your deck a lot, and this deck is still playing 9 draws because you don't actually plus in any way aside from Cecilia and the Transdresser clone. So that's why decking out is sometimes a concern, and she does help you not deck out. So yeah. Okay card, and then finally, this is probably a pretty different choice because most lists you see play the card I'm playing as a one of the Musketeer Beater as the heal, but I personally choose to play the Muse as a heal instead because I don't want to be calling my heal triggers with the Transdresser clone. I don't mind calling PGs because if it was a PG at the top, I wouldn't have gotten it anyways because you drive check it to the bottom and you don't get it until you shuffle your deck and you still have to hard draw into it. But with the heal, I don't want to pull those out for no reason because you don't have a way to put them back. So that's why I personally opt to do that. And this card has like cool utility, I guess. So her skill is I should remember this wrong. I think it's this. So Limit Break 4 on attack to Vanguard. I think if I have it wrong, I'll have the text up on the screen. So Limit Break 4 on attack, CV1 to check top 5 to call a card off the top 5 that has the same name as a card on your field. So this card can enable multi-attack. So an alternate line of play that you can do is you can ride Elbeaver first, ping yourself to 4 or 5, and then crit them to 5, and then rewrite Muse after that to get the multi-attacks in if they don't heal to check for 2 PGs. This card is I've personally never done that, but it's something you can do. But yeah, this card is I basically play just because I don't want to play Musketeer on heal, and this is the best thing you can play that isn't that. This is the best thing you can play that isn't a Musketeer that can sometimes do things. And then her other skill is when something with the same name is called off the top of your deck plus 5k, I think. I actually don't remember. I never use this card. This card's just in here because it's a heal trigger that isn't a Musketeer name realistically, and it's 11k. Yeah, and then finally the last card rounded off is the Musketeer Beater. One boosted plus 3k. I hate beaters. I think beaters are so garbage filler, but you really don't have anything else to play, and this card is on name, so it is stacked water. So that's why I do play him as the one of. If you don't like the Muse for whatever reason, you can play this on heal if you want. I think this card is to do nothing. Muse has occasional utility, and it's 11k base. So yeah. If this card was like the one attacking Vanguard plus 2k, I might consider a little bit more, but this condition for a beater is just really bad, in my opinion. So yeah. This is the list. Like I said before, I'm not an expert at Nectar. I just kind of picked it up for free, so I decided to play it. And I show you guys what my thoughts on the deck is. It works well enough. Next I'll have some games for you guys. Actually, one of the games actually really funny. I'm probably not gonna have a commentary behind it, but one of the game against the Nova player is pretty funny. I'm not gonna spoil it, but you can find out for yourself. But yeah, this is deck profile. Tell me guys what you think about it in the comments. Like and subscribe, all the good stuffs, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.